Test, test. Okay, great. All right, great. So it is Tuesday, May 27th, 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Not that that really matters in the world of recorded videos, but welcome to the OWASP Community Update call. For those of you that have been following along live, we've had a few iterations. I think just like everything you do with technology, you try some things, you learn. Google Hangouts is I would say, a pretty cool technology, but man, we're finding some interesting edge cases with it. But here we are, we're live. So if you're watching live, thank you. And if you're watching via YouTube, you probably missed all of this because we just spliced out all the other stuff. The OWASP community updates, the goal is to share some information about what's going on in the OWASP community. OWASP is all over the world. We're in over 100 countries with chapters. We have nearly 200 chapters throughout the world. We hold major events on pretty much every major continent. We have large chapter meetings, large OWASP days, conferences, OWASP tours in South America, and more. And so what we want to do with the community updates every 2 to 3 weeks or so is give a little snapshot of what everyone's been working on through their amazing volunteer efforts to spread the word of security and help increase application security around the world. The agenda that we're following here is on the OWASP wiki. It's under community updates, so if you Google for OWASP community updates, you'll find that master page, and it has the agenda for all of the different meetings. Also with the YouTube links if you want to share those with others. In the future, if you have topics that you want to add to this agenda, you don't have to be on the call to discuss them, but we do welcome that. Depending on the day and time, we have other people on the call. But if you get the information into the agenda, I'll go ahead and mention that here each call. So let's just jump right in. The first section we have here is OWASPer mentions, and these are activities that are going on, different items that OWASPers have been working on around the world. So a few things to note. In Ireland, we have a new chapter lead. Owen Peddlebury is taking that chapter leadership role. Thanks very much to Fiona Collins, who's been working in that role for quite some time. We also have some changes, and I think we have a typo in our notes here. Mark Denahan is, I think this was taking over a project leadership, maybe on the project leadership board of a project for Darren Fitzpatrick. So we'll double check those notes and get the agenda updated. But Mark and Darren, thanks for your both previous work and the work that's to come. Also, the OWASP wiki is obviously one of our forward-facing let's just say items that everyone around the world sees. That could be the first place that they interact with OWASP through a Google search for information. You know, how do you do safe SQL queries, for example? And one of the great things about the wiki is that everyone can edit and add material. And also one of the challenging things of the wiki is everyone can edit and add material. So it's really great when we see people working to continue to increase the quality of the content, working to cross-link posts, clean up some cruft, or just working on their projects themselves to provide new and awesome security stuff for the world. So I took a look at the wiki over the last 30 days or so and pulled out the top 10 most active wiki users. I did filter out our admins. They do tons of upkeep, but I wanted to see what kind of user activity we had. And so on the community updates agenda, you'll see the top 10 most active OWASP.org wiki users for the last 30 days, listed in alphabetical order. So I'll read through their names. There are links that you can click on and see a little bit more about them if they've completed their WHO page or their user page for their wiki account. And I apologize in advance. I will unfortunately butcher a couple of the names. Sorry. So just reading through, we have Adrian Goodhead, Cauio Diaz. I'd love to know how to say your name correctly. Apologies. Carlos Alendez, Clerk Endweller, Jane O'Connor, Joanna Curiel, Julie Rose Hitarosa, Kate Disney Lugers, Luis Enriquez, and T. Gigler. So thanks very much for the different edits that you've been making for the projects you've been working on. That makes a big difference. Also another OWASP shout out to the OWASP Algeria chapter leader, Manouchi Islam Azidine. They contributed to the success of the event Call for Tech, which took place in Algeria from May 11th, starting on May 4th through May 11th. Other things that are coming up, upcoming events section. So one big thing to note that we'll probably mention every time we have one of these calls for the next few months is the upcoming OWASP elections. So the link is on the page, and if you search for board elections or OWASP elections, you'll definitely find it. We've got the full timeline of events and how to move through that process, who can vote, how do you declare candidacy, what kinds of things are available to run for. So I really encourage people to check this out. I mean, as we know, everything about OWASP is a volunteer effort, and we really value everyone's contributions. But if you're looking to make a larger contribution or a larger investment in time in a particular area, and I do want to say you can actually make large investments of time all over the place, but if the board is somewhere that you want to invest that time, take a look at this page and give some thought to declaring your candidacy. The more candidates and the more people that think through this and want to join, the better for OWASP overall. Now, certainly we have a set number of positions and a global election to determine those. But again, quality candidates that are involved to help OWASP, always a win. And don't stop if that's not your particular cup of tea. There's lots of other ways to help out through technical projects, the wiki, project initiatives, chapters, conferences, all sorts of things. So moving right along, the OWASP calendar link is right below that. So we're making an effort to keep everything on a Google Calendar so you can kind of see what's going on all around the world. And I pulled out a couple upcoming chapter events. So just over the last week, there were a variety of OWASP security talks that were given on May 5th and 6th. I believe those were at the Call for Tech event in Algeria. So we had the OWASP PHP security training from Manushi. Enrico did Introduction to Secure Coding using Python. Let's see, Manushi and SM did OWTF pen testing framework, and Enrico also did SSL security and attacks. So if you guys are listening and have those presentations, let's add the links so people can see them as well. That'd be great. In terms of upcoming chapter events, on May 27th, we have a chapter meeting in Peru. On June 11th, there is the Rhode Island, I believe that's a chapter meeting, giving the talk on non-attributable honeypot systems via fly-by-night VPS providers. Sounds interesting. The next day in Omaha, for those of you that are traveling between Rhode Island and Omaha, you can hit 2 back-to-back. PCI 3.0 DSS secure coding. So that's in the Omaha chapter. On the 13th, there is a Spain chapter meeting. The link for the agenda is there. I believe that's a longer event. Yes, this is a full day event. So if you click on that link, there are a variety of speakers. So it's almost an OWASP Day type event in Spain. So that looks pretty exciting. Do check that link out. And on the 16th of June, Israel is holding a chapter meeting. So if you are holding chapter meetings in the next month or a couple months, do a couple things. Go ahead and put that on the OWASP calendar. And I believe the instructions on how to do that, if you haven't done it before, are in the OWASP chapter handbook. Or just shoot me an email. Both would be great. And we'll get that into this call. I also check that calendar to update the agenda for the call. And we can get that shout out for your chapter event. In the chapter info section, there is the link for how to add your events to the OWASP calendar. If you didn't know, chapters do have funds. So your chapter may have some funds that the chapter leader can spend for food and drink for the event, for bringing in external speakers. There's a variety of things. There's a link for tips on how to spend that money. And if you are looking to start a new chapter, looking for funds to evangelize OWASP, a variety of different things, there is a funding page. And that's for any sort of OWASP activity. And there's information on how to get those funds and how to use those to help further OWASP. Big conferences coming up. The OWASP LATAM tour ran from April 21st through May 9th. Went through a variety of countries in South America. We should really get somebody on here next time to give an update on that. I think that, from what I've heard, went really well, and we should get some more information. OWASP AppSec EU will be on June 23rd through the 26th in Cambridge. So definitely get your tickets now for that. That's coming up soon. And OWASP AppSec USA will be in Denver, Colorado, September 16th through 19th. So I hope to see everybody at those events. Notable project activity. So there's lots of different projects making progress, and here's a few items from those various projects. So the OWASP App Sensor project, that's a project to define how an application can detect attackers in real time and prevent them from compromising the system. So the idea is of building a self-defending application. That project just released the version 2 of the book. That is available, of course, for free by PDF. The link is there to download it. If you'd like a printed copy, it's available on demand through Lulu. The cost is just the cost to have it printed and shipped. That's around $8.50, I believe, plus shipping and handling. And a big shout out to the core authors, Colin Watson, Dennis Groves, John Melton, and also contributors to that version 2 release. Let's see, that's Josh Amijaf-Zlatan, Ryan Burnett, Michael Coates, Craig Munson, and Jay Reynolds. Let's see here, we're working on a new project framework. This is separate, so next item. A new project framework with the goals of clearly defining the project framework and how contributors and community can promote both innovation and quality. So in short, we have OWASP as a platform where a lot of people can do interesting security research, create some great projects. Some will find their feet and take off. Others will be interesting learning opportunities that we may decide to learn from and move into the next project. But the question comes up of, should OWASP as a whole focus on just a few particular projects and put a lot of resources behind them? Should we spread those resources very thin and give everybody just a little bit, or something in the middle? And there's a lot of different angles to how you think about that setup. And so the comments are being requested for the project framework. How should we approach this? And so there's a few different core ways of looking at that, and those ideas are in there. And we're soliciting feedback from the community. What are we missing? What should we consider? And then ultimately we'll say, which model do we want to do? There's never an easy, this option is clearly right, this option is clearly wrong. It's more about making a specific decision on which one we want to do, and then doing that option really well. So if you've been involved in projects or seen it even from other communities, please provide some feedback so we can have all that in consideration as we move forward. And again, the link, of course, is in the agenda. Let's see, we had a ZAP release, so OWASP Z Attack Proxy. That project is led by Simon Bennett, but has an amazing team of quite a few people. I am remiss that I can't list them all, but there's quite a few. They released the 2.3.1 version, and this is a bug fix release, as he said, and more details are in the release notes. The OWASP NodeGoat project, the first stable release was made on May 6th. That's available in GitHub, so go there to check out the code. And thanks to Shaitan Karande, again, apologies for names, for his efforts on this project. We also have an update from the OWASP Python security project. As I see here, they say they have decided to support the proposal project review QA approach by creating a tool to satisfy the proposal's requirements. So that's something interesting. If you are working on the proposal project review QA approach, you can see what they're doing. And if you've never heard of OWASP Python security project, my guess is it has some good tips on Python and security. Let's see, what else do we have in our agenda? So from last time, we had added a note about the OWASP regex page. It was pointed out that there's some regular expressions in there, and we could use some deep dives on whether or not there are any denial of service concerns with those. So we should probably check back and see if those got addressed from last time, but that's in there. Also, we're trying to add some information on how to work with the wiki. What's the best way for formatting, syntax? I think a lot of us here can code great applications, but that doesn't necessarily mean you are in tune with the correct ways of using the wiki. And so if we can have tips and tricks out there so everyone, regardless of their development ability, which is largely unrelated to editing the wiki, knows exactly how to update the wiki. We'll have a higher quality wiki that's appropriately cross-linked. We can keep track of pages, all that goodness. So there's a few things here. We've got a basic FAQ for editing the wiki. You can follow that link. We also have a tip of the week in the WikiFu section. So on how to create internal wiki links. There's actually two ways to create links, and the syntax is shown in the agenda. Whether or not you use two brackets and the page name, or you use one bracket in the entire URL. And the preferred way to do that for internal wiki links is two brackets and then the page, and optionally a text to display. So do check out that on the agenda to see some examples. Also, the link towards basic FAQ for editing. This will be super helpful when you're creating a page and putting all that together. Also, there's a special pages in the wiki, so you can do all sorts of interesting lookups. See most active users, most recently changed pages, dead pages, short pages, all that goodness. And if these types of topics are exciting, you want to kind of be a wiki organizer, librarian, garden cultivator, whatever crazy word you want to use. We actually have a group that are working on that, the Wiki Cleanup Effort. And so the links, again, are in there. But that's a team of individuals that recognize the importance, as we all do, but really want to dive in to making the wiki well curated, in good shape, so people can easily find the information they're looking for. And we, as OWASPers, don't have some old page up there from 2002 giving ridiculous advice that's super outdated. We certainly don't want that. So that is everything we had on the agenda. Certainly lots of activity in the world in terms of security. We keep seeing interesting and unfortunate data breaches in the news. Just reinforces the importance of what we're doing. I think we all know, from our day jobs or from the passion of the hobby of security, depending on where your time is spent, that this is a tough battle. And the fact that we're all pulling together as a worldwide community is certainly pulling towards the right outcomes. So I really appreciate everyone's efforts. Please keep charging. It's a tough problem we're working after. But hopefully with all of us together we can make some progress. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with more. And as part of the OWASP community, please send your information, your data. Get all that information in here so we can keep sharing what's going on throughout OWASP and keep involving more people in the OWASP community. Thanks so much.